Check. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the Backbone Podcast, where common sense still makes sense in a world that is sick and only getting sicker. And yesterday, the verdict: a South Carolina jury found a store owner not guilty of all charges of murder in the 2023 shooting of a 14-year-old black teen. This, of course, was the cause of great uproar because, an engineer, a scholar, was killed for no reason. The jury returned the verdict of Chikai Rick Chow. Chow, 61, who is Asian, shot Cyrus Carmack-Belton in the back after chasing him from his convenience store in Colombia, but maintained that he acted to defend his son. The killing, or the shooting, sent waves of anguish and grief throughout the black community in Richland County, where nearly half the population is black. After the verdict was read, you could hear the sobbing and the cries of distress coming from the Belton family seated in the gallery. Chow sat silently, frozen, before bowing his head into his interlocked hands. Prosecutors and defense lawyers in the closing arguments painted very different pictures, as you would think. Prosecutors said Chow acted in anger because he wrongly thought the teen had stolen 4 bottles of water from the store. The defense lawyer said Chow fired his gun to defend his son only after the teen pointed a gun at him. According to Sean Kent, and I quote, "This case is not about a shoplifter. This case is about a father who sees a gun pointed at his son, and he had to make a decision." This is what Sean Kent, who is black, by the way, told jurors during the closing arguments. The defense attorney said Chow testified that Carmack-Belton pointed a 9mm semi-automatic pistol at him. Now, prosecutors acknowledged that Belton had a semi-automatic pistol, but they said it fell to the ground during the chase, and he never threatened anyone with it. Prosecutors said Chow chased the teen for more than 130 yards from the store. That's the thing, man. These Asians are different. White people would probably, if they thought it was 2 or 3 bottles of, Poland Springs, maybe after you chased a kid, 50 yards, if that, you'd let him go. These chinks, they went after this guy for a football, longer than a football field. A football field is, 100 yards? They chased him 30 yards beyond that. They're dedicated, man. And this must have happened a million times, and it happened a million times. These people were sick of getting robbed. These people are sick of the population that they're involved with down there. And they wanted to make a point here. They've had it up to here, as we all have. This is the height. This is the syndrome of black fatigue. Now it's black exhaustion. And sooner or later, it's going to be black hate. Solicitor Byron E. Gibson told jurors that Chow, quote, chased down a kid and shot him in the back, end quote. And during the closing arguments, Gibson placed a bottle of water before the jurors. Gibson said that Chow, quote, at the end of the day, believed that a human is not worth more than that, end quote. Dramatic drama. And if you see that these stores get looted and rioted around all the time, to these people, yeah, that bottle of water was worth more than this kid. I mean, when does it stop? The police aren't going to do anything. The churches don't do anything. The parents certainly don't do anything. I mean, Homeboy's dad probably went out for the milk, 14 years ago. He has a single mama at home, guaranteed. Gibson said multiple witnesses testified that they didn't see anything in Belton's hands and didn't see him point a gun as he ran from the store. Well, why is he running from the store in the first place? If you don't steal anything, if you have nothing to hide, why are you running? Gibson said, and I quote, "Nobody testified that happened and doesn't have the last name. Nobody testified that happened that doesn't have the last name Chow," end quote. The fatal shooting prompted vigils and protests outside the store. Empty bottles were arranged to spell out Cyrus at one 2023 vigil. Here is a videotape of the store incident. We don't see the shooting, of course, but this is about 2 minutes and 51 seconds. This is old Cyrus with the hair and the backpack walking into the convenience store, and he's, I gotta say, he's pretty suspicious, but aren't they all? They make him drop his bag because they don't see it. Now you can see it looks like the mother here is confronting the boy, and you could hear the guy in the background who might be the son who says, "You have one in your pocket. You have one in your pocket."
I don't got no water in my pocket, but I'll show you one.
Now, of course, this happens around 8 o'clock at night. A 14-year-old boy out by himself at 8 o'clock at night. You have to ask that. You also have to ask, what's he doing with a 9mm weapon on his person? What is he doing with that weapon? Doesn't his mother know if she's a great mother? And we all know what we're talking about here. Doesn't she realize, doesn't she know her son? Wouldn't she recognize that he came home with a gat? And apparently, this kid, or somebody that looks like this kid, and it's hard to tell them apart nowadays, must have done this to these people before, because they have cameras up the ass in that store. And of course, it doesn't help that the boy runs, because when you run, you're automatically guilty, even if you're not doing anything wrong. Why run? What are you hiding? Now, as we said, Belton was carrying a 9mm semi-automatic pistol. It's believed by some witnesses that he dropped the pistol when he hit the ground. The Chows, of course, say that he pointed the pistol at them. Now, you have to look at it this way. Did they see the gun fall to the ground and then shoot him? When did you see the gun? That's the question. Because it's indisputable that he had a gun. The prosecution admitted it. There was a gun found on the scene. His fingerprints were on it. Is it out of the realm of possibility that this kid went to pick up the gun and pointed at the Chow son, and that's why they shot him? Of course not. Of course, it's not out of the realm of possibility. That's what probably happened, and that's why the father fired to defend his son after the teen pointed the gun at him. And yesterday, the jury, who heard all of this and more, came to a conclusion, a verdict. Now, the jury there were a lot of black people in that jury. And when you saw that jury, you're thinking, well, this Asian dude is, he's fried chicken. He ain't getting off on this. No way, Jose. But he did. What does that tell you? Are we seeing a different type of exhaustion now? Are we seeing black on black exhaustion? Are black people starting to recognize that, hey man, we got these thugs giving us a bad name. We gotta make a show of this. The next big trial, of course, is this Carmelo Anthony trial. That's going to be a big one too. And supposedly that's not looking good for old Carmelo. But here is the verdict reached for the Rick Chow trial.
Indictment number 2023-GS40-07440. State of South Carolina, County of Richland versus Chike Rick Chow. We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant, Chike Rick Chow, as to the charge of murder, not guilty. Sign number 302, foreperson, June the 1st, 2026. Madam Forelady, was this your verdict and the verdict of the entire jury?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
And of course, you can hear the sobbing of the mother in the background as the verdict comes down. This was an incredible event. These events, they just don't stop. And the after effects of it will, of course, we'll see. We'll see what will happen as the days go by. And of course, the Carmelo Anthony trial is the other big racial trial that's going on in this country. From what everybody's saying, it doesn't really look good for this kid, as the parents have just used this GoFundMe money to enhance their own lifestyles for their own private purposes. But we take one for the good guys, even though he's Asian, but who cares? One less to worry about, I say. And there's my 2 cents. Thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Remember, my friends, Satan is always busy. Be a man and have a backbone, because masculinity and common sense are worth standing up for. And remember, if it ends in an ism, it's a mental disorder. We'll see you later.